the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. To Zion. Shabbat Shalom.
I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. You hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion.
That's right, brothers and sisters, to Zion. To Zion. I'm Elder Rikash Yar, the Gathering of Christ Church, here with Elder Lawyer. Shabbat Shalom to all of our brothers and sisters throughout the four corners, okay? Hello to all my brothers and sisters. I see you, Princess Judah. I see you, Faith, Miss Wiggins, Brother Anthony. Amaya's backup channel. I wonder what happened to your first one. Isha, Erica, Judith, and all the brothers and sisters who are in early, I would like to say thank you. And a blessed Shabbat Shalom to all of you. May the Most High bless your families on this blessed Sabbath. Folks, there's so much I want to talk about in this particular lesson today. All right? So much I want to dive into. All right? Now, before I go into the lesson, thank you. Hit the like button. Thank you. Before I go into the lesson today, I would just like to thank all those who is a part of our current Hebrew and Bible Academy. Of course, we're coming near to the end of it. Tomorrow, I will be dealing with the 4 beasts of Daniel. And the last lesson will be a brand new take on the hell lesson, which will be called the judgment against the rebellious. What we'll be going into is the afterlife, what happens after this life. Okay? What's in store? Also, the history, brothers and sisters. Through the Holy Spirit, we're going to show the history of this place called Hades or hell, not just from a religious standpoint, all right? Outside of religion, the majority of ancient societies understood the connection to the underworld and this world. It's just that the Bible's perspective places it in its correct context. And we're going to be talking about that tomorrow, okay? We're going to be going into all the records that speaks of what happens in the afterlife. You don't want to miss this, okay? Not just
next week.
Next week, excuse me, next week. This week we'll be dealing with the four beasts of Daniel, but we're going to end it with the crescendo for those who understand that music impact. Okay, we're going to end it with a crescendo. Okay, and we're going to deal with the afterlife, week 12. You don't want to miss that lesson. Okay, and for all of you out there, who would like to be a part of this, we have Hebrew, news, Bible lessons like you have never seen before, wrapped up into one package during Sundays. And you don't want to miss this. It's a very low cost to be a part of it. And what you contribute to this work helps the work, okay? If this interests you, go to historytimes.org and we'll have a whole new gamut of lessons next Academy. And we're going to also do a polling to ask brothers and sisters, did they like this Academy? Did they appreciate what came forth? What did you learn opposed to other lessons that we've been teaching? And also, what can we do to make it better? Okay? What can we do to improve it? Or maybe you want to give us some insight on certain things you wanted to know about that we can include in future lessons. Okay? So make sure you give us your feedback. Okay? And let us know what else you would like to experience in the Academy, and we'll make sure we'll add that dynamic for the next one, okay? Go to historytimes.org. The next Academy starts January 7th, and right now enrollments are open. We're opening with enrollments right now, so go to historytimes.org to enroll, okay? To enroll. Now, there's so many things that cannot be hidden. A matter of fact, there's so many things, brothers and sisters, that has been hidden in plain sight. And I thank the Most High that the Most High I thank him that he have given us the understanding to reach not just the Gentiles, but first and foremost, to reach the lost sheep of Israel. That's very important when it comes to the mission work that Christ established in the beginning with the disciples. Matthew 10:5 and 6. These 12 Yeshua sent forth. Now, with the initial mission, he said, go not into the way of the Gentiles. And to any city of the Samaritans, enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of Israel, and let them know that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Not that there wouldn't be a mission to the Gentiles later, but anyone tell you that it doesn't matter and that Christ's mission statement have changed based on our modern Roman theology are Satanist. You cannot have a mission sent as a missionary to bring people into Christ's kingdom and ignore the first mission statement Christ made himself to the disciples. And I thank the Almighty that he allowed us to focus on gathering the lost tribes who are under duress and destruction till this very day. And guess what, folks? They've been doing things in plain sight. What do we have here before you before I go into the lesson? Well. Huh? Yeah. Let me show y'all something. Let me show you something. Real quick. Hold on, there's some sirens in the background. One moment. Let me let that pass. It's almost by. Hold on. Let me let this go by first. One moment. Just have to let these sirens go by. One moment. And while the brothers and sisters are filing in, please hit the like button. Whatever it is, I prayed it. I prayed it knowing its harm. Man, I've never heard anything like that around here. But here we go. Here we go. Going straight in. Bishop Kazak from Puerto Rico visited the capital of Puerto Rico just the other day, right? And to his surprise, he found something there. Speaking of a mission to the lost tribes of Israel, he began to take pictures that were in the capital of Puerto Rico that confirmed everything we've been teaching. All right. First and foremost, the big cover up. The big cover up out there is that when they came into the new land, that they found savages, Indians, and all these others, right? And claimed that Christopher Columbus was traveling to figure out whether or not the earth was flat or round, which was utterly ridiculous. And here it is in the capital, at the capital of Puerto Rico. What did Bishop Kazak, an Ephraimite bishop within the church, what did he find? Look at this. Christopher Columbus. Old pictures of Christopher Columbus embarking on the new land amongst the Boricua Taino, who are Ephraimites. But see, we all knew this happened. But what most would ignore who don't have the truth of the Bible, they would probably ignore this book in the midst of this artistry. They would ignore, you would see these pictures and think that it's just, that this is just a painting. And would ignore this particular book that this so-called conquistador here is pointing to. Right? You got a preacher, a bishop right here, or a preacher who came over with Christopher Columbus. And when you see this cross here, what you're seeing here is the Knights Templar symbol, the Jesuit symbol, right? The Jesuit Christopher Columbus, right? That's another thing they hide, is that the fact that he was from a Jesuit order. But then you got the guy right here. Let me get him here. You have the guy right here pointing to the book, as if he's telling the preacher that these people are the people from this particular chapter. What particular chapter? There it go again. I wanted to highlight that. What particular chapter is they are confirming as if they found evidence? Well, let's go to the next picture. The prophet Ezra. Primus Liber Apocalyptics. The book of Esdras. Imagine an Ephraimite found out that he was from the lost tribes of Israel in Puerto Rico, only to be baptized under Christ, and through this understanding go to the capital of Puerto Rico and find that everything he learned concerning the truth of his forefathers was right in plain sight at the capital of Puerto Rico, in the capital of Puerto Rico the whole time, which is a government facility. Now, it's a government facility, folks. So don't tell me they don't know who the lost tribes of Israel are. Huh? Don't tell me. And guess what, folks? We didn't have to go to the capital of Puerto Rico to find this out. This bishop found out by the truth that's being taught right here. And it's confirmed in his own land that the Most High is gathering his people. Right? I'm going to go there later. Huh? In the capital of Puerto Rico. Huh? In the capital of Puerto Rico, here's a picture that you can find. Right there. He took a picture of it. He went into the capital and just took a picture of what was in the capital. Most individuals that visit the capital just walk right by this picture and not realize its significance. That they knew that they found the lost tribes of Israel here and that they weren't Indians or Puerto Ricans and all this other crap they're naming people. Guess what? Someone says it cannot be hid. Let me tell you something. It was never hid. Right? They just had us looking someplace else using false Christian dogma and doctrine to keep us distracted and or diverted from the true mission of Christ. This guy said, look, these are these people that's written of in this book. Now, in that particular book, what was this guy pointing to? Well, in 2nd Esdras 13, verse 39, right? 2nd Esdras 13, verse 39. Elder Lawyer, read it.
Yes, sir. 2nd Esdras 13, verse 39.
Yes.
And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him,
Come on.
those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Shalmaneser the king of Assyria led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so they came into another land.
He carried them over the waters, so came they into another land. Okay. That's the Apocrypha. Read.
41. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
They went into a country where never mankind dwelt. It was actually outside of the parameters of the land that was divided through Noah's sons. Ham, Shem, and Japheth had territory given to them, which was within the borders of the old world. So when it says go into a country where never mankind dwelt, this was land far west, outside of the original parameters of Noah's children. See? The Americas. Australia, New Zealand, and all other areas like that. The Fiji Islands, like Naphtali. Hawaii, Naphtali. South America, Colombia, Brazil, and all these other areas before Judah's slave ships started going into Brazil. They were predominantly Asher. So what you see in Brazil right now is a mixture between the tribe of Asher and the tribe of Judah. And now it's coming to full. Let me tell you, it's right here. Read.
42. That they might keep there, or they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Read.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over.
So the Most High calmed the water so that the 10 tribes can begin to what? Migrate into these unpopulated areas. The same areas that Esau would find later, according to another prophecy that would unfold if they began to disobey God's commands on the new land. See? Quite simple, isn't it? Read.
45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth,
which is hidden land. Now, what does Christ's ministry has to do with this? Why is it important to point to these people and show them that they are from the lost tribes of Israel? A mission that Christians themselves ignore. Why? It's going to show you why. The importance of it. If a Christian out there tell you when you're seeking the lost tribes of Israel that it doesn't matter, they're of the devil, and you ought to flee from that false teacher as soon as possible. How can you now claim that God's people don't matter, but at the same time you support some people who are claiming the title within your religion? You can't have it both ways. You can't ignore the physical people and support the people who converted. So you can't have it both ways. You got these Christians who will say, let's support those who are claiming to be Israel today. But yet when we say, well, what about the lost tribes who are the physical people? You're only to turn around with your false ideology and philosophy and claim it doesn't matter. When you hear this, flee the tongue of the devil. That's the devil speaking. Christ's first mission was to find his people. Then it's, well, he came into his own, and his own received him not. He came into his own, and his own received him not. You'll hear that madness coming from these people. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. Yeah. He came unto his own. Let's do it. Right? Let's do it real quick. Let's do it. He came unto his own. His own is Israel. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. His own is Israel. But as many as received Christ, from where? From out of his own. Gentiles were never part of this particular context Christ was speaking about here in John 1. But as many as received him out of his own, like the disciples, like Paul, like the 70 that was baptized after them, like the 120 that was baptized after them, like in Acts the 2nd chapter where there was 3,000 Israelites out of every nation under heaven who was baptized. As many out of his own who have received him, gave he power to become sons of the living God. So you got to break down their lies, how they try to make the scriptures, how they try to put the scriptures in a way to claim that God ignored his own people to choose Gentiles. And why did they do that, folks? It's done so that they can give themselves credibility. This makes them credible if they can claim God done away with his people, and it gives them credibility as Gentiles and authority as Gentiles to teach our book. See? So we stopping that right now. You can't come into our Bible and try to claim that the Most High did away with us. And that's false doctrine when they say he came into his own and his own received him not, as if every Israelite rejected Christ. Well, if every Israelite rejected Christ, there would be no Bible. There would be no New Testament. There would be no Gospels. These were all Israelites. So when they tell you it doesn't matter, check out what they're trying to say. What they're telling you, that you don't matter. But that's not how our God feels. That's not how our God feels. Let me put that out there. So when you go back to Esdras real quick, Elder, let's go there. I just need to go there because these are the false philosophical theories they teach to the unlearned or the ignorant. Well, he did come to his people and they killed him, so he went to the Gentiles. The Bible never says that. Never teach that. Okay? That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. Because who did he send to teach the Gentiles? Israelites. He sent Israelites to teach these Gentiles because they have to get on board with Christ eventually also. You understand? But Paul didn't teach the Gentiles to replace Israelites. That's some new Jesuit evil doctrine that came up after our people lost Jerusalem. Jesuits came with that lie so that they can give themselves what? Credibility as Gentiles and authority to teach a word that didn't belong to their forefathers. And we as Israelites are setting the record straight. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. 2 Esdras 13, verse 39. And whereas...
No, read the 45th verse.
Yes, sir. 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And that same region is called Arsareth.
And that's the new world. And you got all these false philosophers out there claiming that Arsareth is in Africa and all this other mess. Ignore that garbage. It's straight spiritual feces. How do we know this? How do we know this? Even Esau knows better. Even Esau knows better. He knew that when he came here, right? He knew that he found the people that was written of in the book of Esdras. They renamed the hidden land Arzareth. They renamed it America or the United States, which is a corporation. This land was called Arzareth by God before Esau got here. This is the history classes that was set up in our communities and biblical schools and all that. This is the history they've hidden from us intentionally. They knew we were the Israelites the whole time. And that's including our brothers and sisters, the Balikwa Ta'ino, who are from the tribe of Ephraim. Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Let's do a Shabbat Shema Yasha'Allah, and let's go into this lesson.
Yes, sir. Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Akkad.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Akkad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Our lesson today, brothers and sisters, a timely lesson. You see the title. And of course, the title is a little rhetorical. Did Adam lose Eve? Our lesson today. Did Adam lose Eve? And if so, how? And if so, how? Right? What was the true intention for this great part of creation, where the Most High would actually create man to rule this realm? Right? And we're going to go into that. Did Adam lose Eve? Right? And I'm speaking of this, brothers and sisters, in the context of male and female. Male and female. There's so many layers to this. Because it seems from our peer view, where we are now, from our rear view, looking backward to where we are, it seems as if Adam lost Eve. Why? What happened? And this dynamic more so affects our people than any other race. The dynamic of what the Most High established turned upside down. It seems as if it affected our people more so than any other group or race. And we're going to go into that today. Did Adam lose Eve? Now, it tells us in the New Testament the nature of man compared to the celestial. And I'm gonna go there first, if we may. Right? Because first we have to understand in the lesson, brothers and sisters, brothers in particular, who we are within the realm, I'm going to keep on using that word, called earth. Okay? We were made out of the celestial realm. Okay? This is a world that's made within many worlds. And to understand our dynamic or our purpose, we must understand our true origin. Why the Most High decided to make us and who we are in the grand scheme of within his plan. Right? Are y'all following me here? This is going to be a effective lesson for those who would receive it. Now, here's the issue. Be it male or female, if you choose for whatever reason to operate outside of your nature, the Bible teaches us that one kind will cleave to their own kind. So the man that would like to excuse himself, using excuses to stay outside of his nature, will be placed with the women who choose to operate outside of theirs. That's how it works. It isn't no trying to force someone to be a certain type of way and arguing which way. No. How it works, brothers and sisters, is that it operates in of itself naturally. Where the man who don't want to operate in the nature he was in purpose he was made, as well as the women, they'll find each other. And through this toxicity, dysfunction, and destruction, Satan can operate amongst to destroy the rest of the world. That was Satan's plan. See? So we're going to go into this. Someone says, I'm all ears. Check this out. And why did I title it, brothers and sisters? Give me a second. Why did I title it, Did Adam Lose Eve? You know why I titled it that way? Brothers and sisters, it's simple. Eve belonged to Adam. Now, sisters, I'm not trying to offend you, but listen to me. Eve belonged to Adam, not the other way around. Man and woman were created for two separate natures, with two distinct purposes. Understand this. And this is why man and woman butt heads. They butt heads when they cease to realize their purpose or accept one or the other may not like the deal that they claim God dealt, and rebel against the obvious. Okay? Listen to me clearly. We're going to go into this. Okay? It doesn't matter whether or not someone like it, a man, whether he like it or dislike it or vice versa. The Most High isn't going to change his purpose that he made for man and woman. And at the end of the day, whoever operate outside of it, folks, will operate in the earth as a highly dysfunctional being without any direction, and then wonder why it's so. Okay? Let's go into the natures first, Elder Lawyer, if you will.
Yes, sir. This is 2nd or 1 Corinthians 15 and 39.
1 Corinthians, let's get it real quick. First Corinthians 15 and 59. And 39, excuse me. I'm going to pull up the Greek here also. A matter of fact, Elder Lloyd, let's start it here. Let's start the 38, if you don't mind, right?
Yes, sir. Verse 38. But God giveth it a body as it hath pleased him, and to every seed his own body.
So the Most High have given it a body as it hath pleased him. You understand? He sends the spirit of a man or woman into the womb and into the belly of a woman. You understand? It's the Most High who sends it. And it's the man's seed which decides whether or not the child would be male or female. That's your X and Y chromosome. So it's through the Most High who sends the spirit, and it's through the man who decides whether or not it's male or female, that's sent into the woman. She nurtures and cares for the life that the Most High have sent and blessed her to nurture and or bring forth to help this world. And or to help this world. So the child is sent to the mother to groom, nurture, and bring up under the admonition of the laws laid down by the father to be a help to the world. Which means, think about this. Every child that comes through the parents are supposed to be a better or greater representative in comparison to their parents. If the parents are on code with the celestial law and plan for this realm. But it seems like we're working backward. Right? We're working backward. The generations are going worse. When after the sin of Adam and Eve, these children were supposed to learn what should have been instilled, supposed to have been instilled, and it was at one time by Adam and Eve, a reminder to their children, right? A reminder to their children to not fall to the sin of the devil that have deceived and or destroyed the Most High's original intent for him and his woman. See, the serpent got in. So Adam and Eve would remind the children of the fall so that his next generation of children would be what? Better than him. Right? But God giveth a body as it hath pleased him. Read.
And to every seed his own body.
Read.
All flesh is not the same flesh.
All flesh is not the same flesh.
But there is one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, another of fishes, and another of birds.
Come on.
There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another.
Now, there's two glories when it comes to bodies. There's a terrestrial, which is the body that was made and shaped from the earth, man, that has its own glory in the Almighty. And then you have the celestial that has its own glory in the Almighty. Now, when you go into the Greek here, let me go here real quick. Let me go to the Greek here. Now, when you go into the Greek, okay, when you go into the Greek, right, now let me go down to 40, and it tells us about the terrestrial, right? It tells us about the glory of the terrestrial. Well, it tells us this, the terrestrial breaks down as what? Worldly, physically moral, earthy, in earth, terrestrial. Right? In earth, thank you for all the support for those who are helping. Earthy, in earth, terrestrial. You all see that? So there's a glory that comes with the man who was made with a purpose. But there's also a glory for the celestial. Now you notice it says worldly, physically, or morally. Right? I'm going to deal with that in a moment. But let's go to terrestrial. That means the celestial was made before man in a glory that was a little higher than man, which would make them what? It would make them, the celestials are what? Extraterrestrial. So when you hear this mystery of extraterrestrial out there, you know it's talking about the spirits that were made, which operates in the unseen world before this world began. If man is terrestrial, then the celestial is extraterrestrial. So they're telling you that there's powers and angels operating, working within this realm also. Right? So when you go to celestial, let's get that. Let's get celestial now. Celestial. It comes from the Greek word apeironeus, above the sky, celestial, heaven, high. Now, something that's high over terrestrial is extraterrestrial. See that? So the Most High has what? He has two separate worlds operating simultaneously within this plan he has. There's one judgment for the celestial and another. I'm talking about the celestials who has fallen. Okay? There's one judgment for them, and there's a separate judgment for the terrestrial. But at the very end, for the rebellious folks, the disobedient of the celestial and the terrestrial will meet in the place of torment. This is where they find themselves together after life. There's two separate narratives that Christ was actually discussing and talking about during his ministry, which even all the prophets understood. There's two narratives operating at the same time. There's a celestial law and a judgment, and there's a terrestrial law and a judgment. And they run what? Congruent with one another. And they began to run congruent with one another when something stepped in to interfere with God's plan. I'm going to be talking about that more so week after next, right? Now, let's read it again. Let's read the 40th verse of the lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 40. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another.
Come on.
There's the glory of the sun. There's one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars, for one star differeth from another star in glory. Jumping down to 45.
45. Let's read it.
And so it is written, the first man Adam was made a living soul, and the last Adam was made a quickening spirit.
The first Adam was made what? A living soul, right? But the second Adam was made a quickening spirit. So what did Paul mean by this? Right? Because Adam entails what? The beginning of man. To walk in what? The Most High's purpose. So Adam would need to create a new path for what? A new path for the sin, or to cover the sin that came with the earthy Adam. So he would bring forth a new beginning. Understand this. To instill within this earth the authority Adam lost. Adam veered off the path. He partook of a fruit. And that fruit was the fruit of good and evil, the first drug created in this realm by Samael, the devil himself. So it would take a new Adam to bring a new beginning in order to do what? To have mankind walk in his original purpose. Are y'all following me here? And what was Adam's purpose? Elder Lawyer, let's go to the book of Genesis. Where he would give man dominion.
Yes, sir. Genesis 1 and 26.
Genesis 1, verse 26. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. And God said, let us make man in our image.
The Elohim. It's not God. It's Elohim, or if you want to speak in the broken Hebrew or the modern Hebrew today, it would be in the Elohim, the gods, plural, which were the celestial or the angels. And these angels were ordered by Christ himself to create this realm. The Elohim said, let us make man in our image. And we know the image of man is what? And it says, let us make man in our image. Elder Lawyer, if you will, hold that and get Genesis 5 and 4. Let's read that.
Yes, sir. Genesis 5 and 4. In the days of
Matter
Adam.
of fact, verse 1, yes.
Yes, sir. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them.
Male and female created he them. Okay, so when it's stated, let us make man in our image. Let us make man in our image. It entails that what? The heavens is filled with celestial, male, and female, or more so, masculine and feminine. Male and females are the earthy terms. But the Most High didn't create something new. He was creating an earthy example of the heavens. Let us make man in our image. So there's male and female on earth, masculine and feminine in heaven amongst the celestials. Are y'all following me here? Okay. And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. Read.
And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Now, as you can see, male and female initially under God had a plan to do what? To have dominion or rule over all the males and females of creatures within the earth. In layman's term, or to make it simple, the first king and queen that would have dominion over this realm altogether. This realm would belong to that man, that woman, and their offspring. So they were both meant to rule, but in order. But in order. Understand this. And this is what we have We have to get out of the world we live in, or the delusional world we live in, to believe that we can recreate new definitions to satisfy our own delusions. We have to go back, and I'm talking about man, male and female. A man cannot be claiming, I'm a king, just because you're black, and not operating under the authority that was given from the celestial. A woman cannot claim to be a queen just because she's a woman and is black. There is no queen without a king. Queens are made by kings. That's the order. You're not entitled to a dominion type of title. You're not entitled to that. So we have to get out of this delusion to make ourselves feel better, which takes away what? It takes away the ambition to become what we lost by claiming it without works. If I can just roll out of my bed and be a king, then what work do I need to achieve that status according to what was written initially? I already deluded myself into believing I have actually made it there already by staking claim to a title when the world has evidently, told me that it's an entirely different dynamic than what I've deluded myself into believing. Right? So we have to take away these titles, first and foremost, and stop calling ourselves kings and queens outside of the heavenly celestial order. To understand that we must strive for the dominion that was lost in Adam and become what? Kings and priests, like it read of in the book of Revelations. That's something to strive for. A royal priesthood, it's called. So we don't get this strictly because we're black and Israelites. Okay, that's something to strive for. So I'm not going to accept anyone just out there willy-nilly calling themselves kings and queens because they are black. That's ridiculous. The whole world isn't playing in our sandbox that we've made, this little sandbox of delusion we've made for ourselves. Okay? Now, what's in our blood, the potential according to the prophecy is there. Okay? Now, what's in our blood? Yes, we have royal blood. But what comes of it? If we don't operate in the roles that were intended from the beginning, and that's what I'm going to talk about. Right? Let's talk about it now. It tells us here, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them that have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Read. Now I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you, folks, the power of the Almighty when it comes to how he views us walking in our original purpose, walking in your original purpose. Listen to this. Read.
So God created man in his own image.
Look at that. What a privilege. Man, this is what he thought of you. I'm not going to make you like the beast. I'm taking my essence and forming you in my image. Well, that comes with the responsibility. So God created, Ahia created man in his own image. Read.
In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them.
Male and female created he them. Now let's go over to the second chapter real quick. And I want to go directly. Now, Adam was tasked with naming all the animals. All the animals he was tasked in naming. Okay. They were in total order with him as he was with the Most High. And again, let me make it clear. Adam and Eve were the first people, period. I'm not getting into this philosophy and theory of some Adamites who were living, and Adam and Eve came through the bone and flesh of the flesh of the righteous sons of God that they came through, and this is the people that Cain ended up finding a wife amongst, and all this mess that cannot be proven. Okay? The Bible says, beware lest anyone spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. And you cannot teach through, teach through philosophy and through process of eliminations. And the example of that is they're out there saying, well, we're gonna make up a theory through process of eliminations. Some people might ask, well, Elder Ricard, what you mean by that? Well, Cain went and found a woman in the land of Nod. So by process of eliminations, there must have been other people around. So therefore, my theory that there was other people exist. Madness. Okay, don't come to me with that foolishness. Because what you got to do is you got to tell me what was Adam and Eve's mama, their daddy, and their mama's name. Okay? Right off the rip. You got to, what was Adam's father's name? And make yourself, this is what's going on amongst our people to try to sound deep. Oh, you know there was an Adamite some generations all before Adam, and he came from the sons of God. And then this is the mess that's going on amongst our people. And I'm going to tell you what that does and why we need to throw that crap out of the window. It makes it where we don't focus on how we've gotten here. We don't focus on I would say, the importance of the ancients when it comes to this story of our first father and mother. Okay? We need to focus on how they fell, the dominion that was given them, and how it can be applied today, knowing that it's almost our time. Okay? Somebody asked me and say, well, who did Cain marry? If you ask me, I'll just come right to you. He married Awan. Awan, who's that? That was his sister. Hold up, you're not allowed to. There was no law of incest until the nations were divided. That's why the Most High said, be fruitful and multiply. On the surface, if you look at Adam and Eve, the Most High's first son and daughter, you would think that was incest, wouldn't you? But it wasn't, because the nations weren't divided, so there was no law of incest in the earth until the nations were divided. Period. See how simple that is? The book of Jubilees tell you exactly who that was. And I don't need to go to the book of Jubilees for A1. I can go to Genesis and it'll tell you that Adam had, after he had Seth in them, he had more sons and daughters. So if you don't want to put a name to it, pick one of those daughters that it said Adam had in Genesis, the 5th chapter. Cain married one of those. And that's why the Bible says, beware of Jewish fables. And it actually say that. Right? Now, that aside, because it's so frustrating, brothers and sisters, having to teach through all these lies that even our people carry till this day. Amongst Hebrews, they're telling people that there was Adamites and all this madness out there. Okay? So we here to set the record straight, but I digress. Let's go into Adam real quick, and let's go directly to Adam, elder lawyer, if you will. And let's go straight to after he gave Adam. Now, Genesis the first chapter, folks, is only an overview of the man and woman we're seeing right here in Genesis 2. Okay? It's an overview when he says, let us make man in our image. Now the Bible is going into detail and honing in on that man and woman that was spoken of and created in Genesis 1, as was the animals that Adam named were also talked about in Genesis 1. But now it's going into deeper context for that man and woman who were made, right? And when it says, let them be fruitful and multiply, they did multiply. Cain, Abel, all the other children. See? Now let's go down to where he would actually take a woman or a bone out of Adam.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis chapter 2, verse number 20. And Adam gave names to all the cattle and to the fowl of the air and to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found an helpmeet for him.
Was not found a what?
An helpmeet for him.
So a woman's purpose is to help meet a man's dominion or purpose. That's a woman's purpose for earth. There's no such thing as, according to God, strong, independent. I don't need a man. That's psychotic. With the heavens or the celestial viewing the earth for the purpose of a woman. That's delusional. That's contrary to the nature. That nature in of itself will drive a woman insane. Because it's impossible for the woman to operate normally out of her nature. If she operates out of her nature, the same as a man, it drives you mad. Okay? A woman's purpose, what truly makes a woman happy, is when she's what? When she's helped meeting a man's purpose, guiding the family, nurturing the family, being able to stay in her feminine. Outside of that, when she starts to operate in the spirit of Adam, she becomes something lower than the Most High created. That's why I went into the celestial has its glory and the terrestrial has its glory. If a man begin to operate outside of that role, he becomes something less than the man that was created. We become something what? Between man and beast. We become something in the middle. Right? And that's where the enemy wants us. That was the enemy's plan. Because by lowering our nature, he could now, the celestial who fell, Satan himself, could now take dominion and use ignorant men as servants to the gods. Okay? To build their world, to build their empire. When the celestial was made to build our empire, the celestial built the earth so that we could rule. Is it starting to make sense now? So when you hear this thing about the need for mental health and how so many people aren't healthy mentally and need escape through meds and all these things, what are we ignoring? That Satan have actually established a world where man and woman is operating out of nature. Therefore, from a heavenly view, there's a bunch of crazy people running around with no direction or purpose. And pride will not allow that man or woman to admit something is wrong with me. I am operating contrary to the nature God made in me. Right? 20, let's read it.
Yes, sir. Verse 20. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an help meet for him.
A help meet for him. I have a lot on your plate, Adam. I'm going to make a help for you in this dominion. Right? Not someone who was seeking the authority of Adam, but to share in having Adam's dominion and purpose shine forth. Right? Adam has his purpose. A woman has her purpose. Her purpose is a help meet. When you take away that nurturing spirit that the Most High inherently put into a woman, it changes her into something else. She loses direction. Right? Read on.
21. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof.
Now, the atheists used to call this magic and hocus pocus and myth and all that back in the day when these scriptures were read concerning this. Oh, yeah, God take a rib and make a person. Until modern science now have come up with the technology to be able to take what? DNA and all of that, to clone, bone marrow and all that stuff to do certain things that they claim was impossible at one point scientifically. See? So now you don't hear the atheists claiming that would be impossible now. Because what was within Adam was the blood of life. And to the point where the Most High was able to take a bone from him with his DNA to make a beautiful feminine version of Adam. Woman from man. And he did this in essence so that the woman could always appreciate where and who she came from, according to the divine order. Yes, women are beautiful and can bring forth life. But she's from us. Right? Yeah, you bring forth life, and that's absolutely beautiful. But we brought you forth. And that keeps what? That keeps the priority of the Most High's purpose in order. See? No matter how great man can be on earth, we can never say we could do what God has done. And the Most High will constantly remind man, nah, you great and all that, but everything that makes you great, I put in you, man. So stay in your place, man. We're constantly reminded that we come directly from the Almighty, and there's what? An order. And this is why I speak against the nonsense and delusional men amongst our particular people who are walking around destitute, being utilized and destroyed in the communities, talking about their gods. Another form of delusions. I'm God. No, you're not. No, you are not. That's delusion. Okay? By the same token, the Most High made us. We are the dominion on earth if we are in order with him. And we cannot overstep that authority. Well, it's the same for women. The Most High pulled a rib out of man to constantly remind women where they came from. Okay? You came out of us, and it's okay. The Most High made the earth. He shaped us out of the earth, man, and put in the man the Holy Spirit. A spirit breathed in him and made him a living soul, which would make him king of earth if he operates under the authority and order of the celestial given that have given Adam life. And now the woman have to appreciate the fact that, boom, the Most High pulled a rib out of a man and made her woman from man. If you go in between man or woman at any time outside of its nature, this is where you get dysfunction from. This is where you get mental illness from. Okay? This is where mental illness comes from. If you can convince a man to operate outside of his nature, he is now turned into something else outside of why the Most High formed him. Now, he can be accepted in this world, this evil world, but he won't be accepted according to the celestial view of what? Of the law that was given to man in the beginning. The heavens have no place for a man that isn't a man. And the heavens have no place for a woman who refused to operate in her natural nature. Right? So now let's talk about it. Some people might ask, well, what happened? Well, when we partook of this fruit, brothers and sisters, and I'm going to talk about that. When our father and mother partook of this fruit, something happened, something changed. There was a disturbance between what? The celestial order that would move man further out from the presence of the Almighty, like we once were before the sin. A disturbance. Okay? Satan. According to Jewish ideology, his name is Samael. According to certain literature, Samael is the prince. We all know him as the prince of darkness, but he's the prince over Rome. Every empire, every nation has a god or ministering spirit over it. Christ have sent Michael to guard and to stand up for us under Christ. He's the prince who watches with all the ranking angels under Michael, watches over the 12 tribes of Israel within the earth. That's how it works. The Persians have their own prince. The Ishmaelites have their own prince. The Hamites, like the original Ethiopians, have their own prince. Esau has his own prince, and it's Satan himself. These are the princes who go before the throne of the Almighty and report every sundown. Okay? So when you read the princes in Ezekiel and all that, these aren't speaking of people who were princes on earth, folks. These are celestials who deal with the heavenly order and the affairs and record and report the affairs of men on earth. Are y'all following me here? Now, Elder Lawyer, if you will, let's go straight to Genesis 3 with that serpent.
Yes, sir. Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtile than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
Now, why am I going here? The question is, did Adam lose Eve? Folks, the Bible states there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. So think about this. When it comes to a promotion or marketing or media influences in our current time, who does the market or the corporations lean towards to drive the economy, especially within the Western world when it comes to advertising? Who do they go to influence a house to purchase? Who? And it doesn't matter your race. It's the woman who usually make the decisions for the home. And there's nothing wrong with that if you have a woman who's under the order, the divine order. But it's something seriously wrong with it if these women who are getting influences are under the clutches of the serpent. So, folks, nothing new under the sun. Satan had a plan. And he knew he couldn't go to Adam with the plan. Right? So he went to his woman. Right? He went to his woman. Right? Now, understand, like I mentioned earlier, brothers and sisters, that there's a different nature between man and woman. Even though a woman is from man, We're entirely different in how we think and all of that. And it's intentional. It's a healthy balance like it is in the heavens. But we have to understand something and embrace man and woman, who we are according to creation. Before I read this, right? The Bible says what? Elder Lawyer, if you will, let's go give honor to the woman.
First Peter 3 should be.
1 Peter 3, verse 7.
Yes, sir. 1 Peter 3, verse number 7.
1 Peter 3, verse 7. Read it.
Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
Dwell with a woman according to knowledge. The knowledge of where she is according to the divine order. We must dwell with a woman according to the knowledge of what the Most High have instilled in her. And what's that?
Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel.
Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. Now, is it saying that this woman is weak? No. She's a weaker vessel compared to the man she was pulled out of. So you should just suppose that in its proper context. Therefore, man understands that you can never treat a woman like a man and get a good outcome from her for yourself. She was made different. So the weaker is in comparison to the man she was pulled out of. It doesn't mean she's a weak person. Right? Likewise, you husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. What knowledge? The knowledge of what I'm about to read in Genesis. The Most High gave her a different curse compared to a man. And she lives with this curse until Christ returned to take it away. Right? We can't take away what makes a woman weak. So we must deal with her according to that knowledge. That means if a man deal with a woman as he would a man, in most instances, he breaks the woman. He breaks the woman. A man cannot get upset that a woman cannot see things as he sees things. She has a different nature. She isn't crazy. She's a woman. And the same way, women are just confused to why we're not worried about the things they worry about. The man isn't crazy. He isn't unempathetic. Okay? And don't try to claim he doesn't have any emotional intelligence. He's a man. Okay? A man isn't supposed to be operating under some frame of emotional intelligence. A man is a man, and a woman operates with emotional intelligence because emotions rule her. That's part of the weakness. I'll show you. Let's go straight down to the curses given to man and woman.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis 3 and 16.
3 and 16. See, and going back to the beginning, brothers and sisters, it's not to accuse or point fingers, it's to level set all of us. It's a level set. It's a reset. So in the absence of these classes, we can compare our purpose with God according to nature and do what? Walk accordingly. And I know what it is. Sometimes we feel it's all right if we can if we can put out an excuse to people to why we have to operate contrary to nature. It doesn't change the fact you're operating contrary to nature and the delusion and judgment that comes with it. So having an excuse to why you have to operate a certain type of way doesn't change the dynamic. You still can't operate that way, even though you got an excuse to claim why you're doing so. So when I hear women out there claiming I had to be the man and the woman, that is absolutely psychotic. Use another example for what you had to do, because it's impossible for you to be a man. You're operating as a woman with a lot on your plate as a woman. Okay? But when you start confusing things by putting out there you had to be the man and a woman, you got to look at how delusional that sounds. It's impossible, based on how the Most High made man and woman, it's impossible for you to stake that claim that you are the man too. It's crazy. It's impossible. Okay? And men, and I'm saying it both sides, because there's men out there who raise their children, single. I need y'all to think about that. There's men who have their children. I mean, for years, I raised, my son by myself. But you would have never heard me try to claim, oh yeah, I'm the father and the mother. That's psychotic.
Right.
Things didn't work out, and I'm doing the best I can as a father. Mm-hmm. That's it. You have to realize that other people are listening when you say certain things. Okay? And how delusional and crazy these things sound. It's impossible for a woman to be a father and a mother. It's psychotic. It's outside of the heavenly structure. Okay? Let's read it real quick, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis 3:16.
Let's read it.
And unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow.
I will do what?
I will greatly multiply thy sorrow.
I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. Let me blow that up. I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. Read.
And thy conception.
And now a man can experience this. And thy conception. Bringing forth children. Much pain. Epidural, anyone? Read.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
You will have more pain than any female creature that was created on earth when bringing forth offspring. Read.
And thy desire shall be to thy husband.
Thy what?
And thy desire shall be to thy husband.
Read.
And he shall rule over thee.
Now, this is not talking about go get me a sandwich for you brothers out here reading that scripture like that. When it says, and thy desire shall be unto thy husband, you will have a wanting for a man within your nature. Okay? You will have a longing or feel incomplete without a man. The desire will be in you whether you're fronting before everyone out there or not. You'll feel incomplete without a man. That's why it says thy desire. That's a longing. And he shall rule over you. That desire will always be in you because you was made to help meet him. You were made, you don't even feel like your purpose is correct because even though you may have a job, even though you may be you make good money, guess what? It's not satisfying. The world made you believe if you did what a man do, that it would satisfy something. But that was the serpent. That was the serpent introducing himself to Eve and say, you will be like God. You can be even with Adam. Don't you want equality? Don't you? Why is he going to give him to do all this and going to leave you out? When she would have realized from the beginning, she was never left out. Everything her man has, she can help meet that to grow. And then when it says give honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, it's only saying that her sorrows are greatly multiplied. The women are warriors naturally, and the Most High made a woman that way. Why, some might ask? So that when she has what? A conflicting decision to make, like in the beginning, that tree of good and evil, she'll check on a man first. This is why women usually make decisions by committee. This is why women usually knock things off on other people before making a decision. It isn't that she isn't intelligent. She's dumb. It's something in her to tell her, I need to not make these decisions because look what happened with my first decision as the mother of all creation. So sometimes women will just come off and just ask you questions, and she's just trying to what? She's just trying to get things verified before making a mistake. Well, this is it right here. This is why. This is why. But the error we have in this world today is pride. Pride have made it where people, men and women, feel weak if they admit the evident curse that's in them. Somebody going to think I'm dumb if I ask these questions, so I'm going to act as if I know something. Well, no, that's pride. That's pride. We need to embrace the nature the Most High have in us to improve, to grow from. Give honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. What's the weaker vessel? Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. That means you'll be worrying about everything. And you'll think the man is unsympathetic or uncaring. No, he isn't unsympathetic. He's thinking. Okay? See, and that's the balance. He feel the severity of every issue you may think is a 10. But he's a man. He's not getting caught in the emotions of it. He's coming up with a solution right before you without saying anything. That's the balance. He don't get into the conversation, the emotional conversation in the midst of the chaos. That'd be like having two women running around. He's not satisfied, and he'll sit there and he'll talk with you. And then, you know, if he get fed up with it, he'll tell you, I'm coming with solution. And you're upset that I'm not moving through every emotion you're dealing with when I'm not a woman. Okay? So when a man responds to a woman's emotions, that's the balance, because something needs fixing. But the balance is the man is coming with the solution. Women think that that's not having emotional intelligence. Because if I can't fix this, what are we talking about here? Okay. You want me to be running around and you know, just shivering too? If I'm coming with a fix, I'm not here for the emotion part of it. And women don't understand that. Well, the curse of sorrow wasn't put in man. Okay. That's the woman's burden. But we, men, must what? We must give respect to her. Be knowledgeable of that she's the weaker vessel. That the majority of things that becomes an issue is going to be a 10. Okay. Right? Let me show it to you here. Right? It's going to be a 10. Right? And it's okay. Right? Let me get it here. Now, Elder Lawyer, let's finish reading.
Yes, sir. Verse number 17.
Now check out Adam.
And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it.
And again, the Most High did not place this tree here. That's why he told Adam and Eve not to touch it. And common sense would have people know that the Most High could never tempt man to do evil. Common sense will tell you that the tree was planted by the fallen ones of Satan himself, because in Genesis, when he made the field and all the trees and all of that in Genesis 1, he saw that it was what? Good. So all the trees that the Most High put in the garden initially in creation, you can read about in Genesis, the 1st chapter. There's no tree of good and evil there. He saw that all of his creation of the herbs and the trees and all of these things that would do what? Minister to the man he would pull out of the ground was good. Good. There was no tree of good and evil there. Lord have mercy. That's why he told Adam not to touch it. See? Now, if you want to go into more literature, when you go into 2nd Esdras, the 14th chapter, it goes into the secrets of the times, which is the book of Jubilees. You go into the book of Jubilees, and it breaks down more information. And then when you go into 3rd Baruch, you got 1st Baruch in the Apocrypha. When you go into 3rd Baruch, Baruch asked the question, what is this tree that was in the midst of the garden that lured mankind down, lured mankind to sin? And he answered Baruch, the angel answered Baruch and told him, it wasn't our God who planted the tree. It was Samael. Samael is Satan. And he put the tree there to take your dominion. This is why every system that Satan set up, he will have what? That's right. Drug usury. The use of drugs in every society is a form of control to take dominion from man. So it's a key component in ruling a population of many people. The first drug was the tree. Get in that academy, folks. We tell you. And Adam, Elder Lawyer,
Yes, sir.
read.
And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life.
Come on.
Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. And the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken. For the dust thou art, and unto the dust shalt thou return.
Okay, Adam. Adam, you're ungrateful. I've given you everything. I've given you dominion, a dominion you didn't even have to work for. I just wanted you, Adam, to listen. Listen, not to your wife, but to me. You should have listened to me, Adam. Now, let me make it clear. Does this mean a man isn't supposed to listen to his wife? No. A man is supposed to listen to his wife. She's a helpmeet like unto himself. Okay. He's supposed to listen to her because what? She's protecting the legacy. She's in the everyday movement of the house and understand what would disturb her home. So a man is supposed to listen to a woman, but not against the divine order. That means a woman coming in bringing some outside stuff that has nothing to do with what the man has established. Okay? Now you're disturbing things. Right? So a man is supposed to listen to a woman when she's on board with the program. Okay? Understand this. So this is not saying that a man isn't supposed to listen to a woman. All right? Make it clear. And in the sweat of the face of thy will eat bread till thee return unto the ground, for out of it was thou taken. Right? For dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. So, Adam, here it is. I've given you everything. You are the ruler of the earth, and you have given your dominion over. Now, instead of me giving it to you, you're going to work for it. That means you don't make it to any level of power or whatever the case might be when it comes to your direction, your career, or anything, unless you work your behind off. You must work to gain the status lost by Adam. That's success. It's not given to you. See? Now, let me make it clear. Okay? Let me make this clear when it says work. That means work. And still, while working, you must also instill in that home the covenant, the law, statutes, and commandments that was given from the beginning to Adam. And this is what keeps a balance between Adam and or Eve. But how did Adam lose Eve? I'm going to answer that question in one moment. And like I said earlier, this is more so metaphorical, but I'm going to talk about the pride portion in a moment. The pride portion. And in a nutshell, I'm going to put it this way before I go on to part 2, which is not going to take that long. Right? Here's the pride portion. Okay? None of us can change past mistakes and error. I mean, how many of us would have done things different if we had the knowledge we're learning now? And that's including every last one of us here. So I'm not teaching this so that anyone can have any regret or beat themselves down or whatever the case is. Right? That's why Christ says repent. Repent is to put it behind us, acknowledge our fault, and now walk correctly. Right? Now, this is when, in a nutshell, if we had all things even, men, listen to this clearly. A man should never choose a woman out of the divine order. He should always choose a woman who's seeking to be a helpmeet with him. Period. Right? And I'm going to tell you, if you choose like this, you'll have peace. Now, there are going to always be disagreements because the conflict of Adam and Eve, is part of the curse until Christ returns. There'll always be some level of conflict. There'll never be a perfect relationship. Don't even think about it. Right? But when you have purpose, right? When you have purpose according to what the Most High gave Adam and Eve, you're dealing with the purpose more so than what's going on with you individually. You're swallowing your pride as a man or a woman and saying, you know what? For the sake of this purpose, I'll have to swallow some of my pride when it comes to certain instances. Okay? A woman should never choose a man that she know cannot guide her. Period. A woman should never choose a man that she doesn't respect to guide her. Because if you choose a man that way, you'll be operating out of nature. And eventually, you'll grow resentment, and what? It'll drive you crazy because you're operating out of the divine order. Right? A man should never choose a woman who isn't fully on his program to help meet his mission. That means a man must have a mission and a purpose when introducing a woman into his life, because he must give a purpose for her. That's the original divine order. Help me. Doesn't matter how good she looks. It doesn't matter how she does her hair or whatever the case is, because looks are fleeting. How she looks now isn't going to be how she's going to look 10, 15, 20 years from now, and that's okay. We all age. Okay? We all age. But the reality is, you cannot compromise your dominion and your position because a woman is attractive. Can't do it. You got to get on my page. And I'm saying men have to set that standard. Men have to set that standard where it's okay to say no. No, I'm good. Well, you know how many men like me and step into me? Well, that's okay. They step into you for what? Okay. They step into you for what? Okay. Attention is attention. And women will always get attention. Okay, because that's what it is. But men set standards. Men set standards. So a man will do what? Nah, here's my program. Not the other way around. Not the other way around. It's the man who comes with the list. It's the man who comes with the standards and the list. Okay? It's right here. Let me turn it around. It's called the Holy Bible. It's the woman, because women usually choose relationships, and she understands that she cannot get with any man that she will need to lead. If she feels that she needs to lead this man, don't get frustrated when you're in a relationship and you chose a man that isn't leading. Don't get frustrated when he isn't leading. And use it as an excuse to say, well, I'm going to leave him because I thought he was going to be this, that, and the other. No. He is who he is. And if you see the potential in him being that way, which is good, then you're going to have to wait, if you choose to be with him, while he works it out and gain full dominion over that house. And when he say, give me the reins, you have to let them go. Right? Now, one thing I wanted to point out too is, and I've seen this a few times online, right? Where now there's a thing that I've heard, Elder Lawyer, where you have some sisters out there, not all of them, but a few have come to a conclusion that our men aren't anything, speaking of black men in particular, and they're saying this. They're saying that we've been conquered by the white man, which leaves them exposed. Some of these psychotic quotes that are out there that have left them to them exposed with no protection. Because I think there's a girl out there, and may the Most High bless her and open up her eyes. There's a young lady by the name of Cynthia G who said that if a woman has a child where it's founded that it's a boy to be delivered, that the boy should be aborted and only bring forth the girls. That's a psychotic ideology that's online. And also there's a thing out there that claim that, well, we're not protected as black women because the black man has been conquered by the white man. And this is why we shouldn't respect him, because he's a conquered being. Listen, and I'm here to give resolve. I pray for the sister. I don't look anything negative because I know that she don't understand. She don't understand. She's really viewing this from her myopic, or what I would say anecdotal thing that happened, dysfunctional, the dysfunctional happenings that probably occurred in her life. Right? And yeah, she's hurt. Right? And I would have thought that this was a minute thing, right? If I didn't see that she had upward, before her channel was canceled, brothers and sisters, she had upward over 138,000 subscribers. Right? So this isn't a small matter. 138,000 subscribers, and it was women, other women, suggesting that their daughters see the channel. And I'm like, well, okay, here we are. Now, of course, the channel been canceled through YouTube. But when I found this out, I thought I would give some perspective to that. Right? That there is a view out there that our women are exposed based on the lack of leadership and the fact that the white man has conquered us. Well, let's give that context. Elder Lloyd, let's go to Deuteronomy 28. And this is what they're missing. And this is why we have to come to a degree amongst ourselves to forgive one another. We have to forgive each other. Why? Because the curse didn't just affect our women. Sisters have to understand how the curse have affected the men. Right? And now that we've come to the knowledge of the truth on how to climb out of this dysfunction, right? That takes away the blame game now. If we understand how we got to this point where our women can claim that they have to make a choice to be with a white man because black men are conquered, which is laughable to me. For real. It's laughable to me because it comes down to it's not all men. And some of us through pride don't realize these are the men we chose. And some people are too prideful to say, you know what? Nah, I had a choice and this was my choice. And they would rather absolve themselves by claiming all men are the issue. And here's the reality. Here's a reality. And I'm going to say this from the sister portion before I teach this. And this is what we haven't been taught in America. A woman has to work for a good man. You don't get a good man just with your aesthetics. Just because you can dress yourself up and get attention. It's work. So the same way men have to work to please the Almighty and to have something for a woman to help meet. That's right. Women have to set themselves apart from the rest to be seen different than all other women, and that takes work. And let me tell you, some people on either side, there's men who are lazy when it comes to certain scenarios like this, and there's women who are lazy. It's men who believe they should get it just because I'm from Jacob. I'm a black man. Wrong answer. Right? So we're going to talk about it. Someone says fornication is a root of the issue. Of course, it's a grand component in it all. There's fornication on either side. So, but what do? Do we pack up and just go home? Or do we instill the law, repent, and do what's right going forward? Okay. So, and I'm glad you point that out because now we're going into Deuteronomy 28. Right? And don't forget, Christ said he would call us he would call this generation a generation of adulterers. So does that mean that everyone is doomed, close the book, let's go home when everyone have sinned? So let's not speak to the obvious. Let's get solution. Right? Let's go to the Bible real quick and let's read Deuteronomy 28, verse 15.
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So if you were to break God's commandments, you'll be under a curse. Not just the men of Israel, but the women of Israel also. Y'all doing a great job. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button for me, please. Look at these curses. Read.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Read.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed.
And, oh yeah, your basket in your store not being able to save. No finances, no generational wealth to be able to hand down to your children. Now, let me drop this. The Bible says there's no sin that's common to man. Have there always been fornication? Have there always been disloyalty? Have there always been what? Some level of infidelity. It's just the beginning. So I need brothers and sisters to tell us, what is the difference between this generation and all the past generations who withstood and went through those same ills, but were able to fight through those for the sake of purpose, legacy, and to leave something for their children. And I'm not making an excuse for it. We were under sin. But what is the difference in past generations who were able to fight over the indiscretions that happened within the family for the sake of the family? What's the difference between this generation and prior generations who fought through it? What's the difference? You know what the difference? It's not that those things didn't happen. It was because former generations of our family were able to forgive. They were able to forgive one another for the greater purpose. Now, the difference with this generation, another difference in this generation and former generations, is that our current generation don't have the time our past generations had. We're at the end. And we don't have what? The autonomy and the time to make mistakes in the hopes that things will get better 20, 30 years from now. We're up against a time our foreparents knew not. Okay? Which means the consequences for sin can be almost immediate without any time for repentance with us so close. So it's upon this generation to get it right, because this generation don't have the time to be able to lick our wounds and look at some of the things we've done and all that and get it right and still have an opportunity to achieve something here. This generation must get it right more so than any other generation because they don't have the time we had. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Verse
and,
number.
and the key mix, the key mix that I want to keep putting into this, folks, is because Satan would have us solely concentrate on the negative. But what I want to point to is Christ through it all. The greatest element we have amongst our people under the curse is the fact that we have lost the power of forgiveness. We've lost that virtue of actually forgiving one another. And I'm going to tell you this, okay? And it becomes circular. It becomes circular to the point where there is no end, no remedy. And that's why no remedy at the end of it. And it becomes a cycle of chaos, to why I wanted to talk about this lesson today. I wanted to get into it. Read it.
Yes, sir. Verse 19 or verse 18. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Read.
Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
So our children will be cursed when we're born. They look into a cell and do all types of things when our children are born. We can't even get our children out of the hospital these days without some type of suggestions and all this other stuff. And then when we go out, we're thrown on a cold slab with our family only deciding to burn us alive under a Moloch sacrifice. Read.
20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, until thou perish quickly.
Now let me go to the wife. Thou shalt beget a wife.
Verse number 30.
Let's go down to 30. Read it.
Verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife.
Thou shalt be engaged to a wife.
And another man shall lie with her.
And another man shall lie with her. I wanted to highlight this because you got women coming around talking about the men were conquered and all of this. And this is why women aren't protected, because the white man became their conqueror and all this other mess. When here's the curse right here. That because we decided as the man and women of the Almighty to break God's law, he made it where Esau would have dominion and power to do exactly what we're reading. That another man would become rulers over our women, with us having no power to do anything about it. This happened in chattel slavery. This happened in chattel slavery. So many times we try to give the credit to Willie Lynch, which really covers what we really should be examining when it comes to the curses of slavery. Willie Lynch was just executing his power based on these curses. See? And through this, even though these curses existed, all through times, our men revolted. Our men died through chattel slavery to help free our families. And when people try to downplay the martyrdom and the death that led to our sisters even getting the freedom they see today, only to blame us for it is disingenuous. It isn't right. Here's the curse right here. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. We were conquered. Not by the white man. The conquering was the curse the Most High put on us for disobedience. See? And the Bible tell you that part of this curse to why we fell is the fact that the Most High would take the courage, the bravery out of a man for a while until Christ would come to return that spirit of a warrior in a man that our nation can be proud of. Read it.
Yes, sir. Verse number 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
So this is a curse on the children of Israel. That we had to suffer this. And you know what? We went through this. Building Esau's empire. If anything, we need to look at the fact that there's conquered men and conquered women and what we've gone through and realize and come back to the God who said this would actually happen for disobedience. So how do we turn the curse? How do we take this curse off of us? We must come back to the law. That was the law that we left, the law that led to our demise. Willie Lynch or the white man or any other man couldn't have done a darn thing if we didn't disobey God. And because man walked away from God, he set a purpose in this earth where the woman would have the man understand how God feels. Huh? I needed to keep it there for a second. Because man just want to point to the woman. Right? But if a man is in order with the Almighty, a woman, it doesn't matter who she is, must fall in order. See? So this dysfunction we're seeing is what amongst man and woman is what the Most High is witnessing when it comes to man's what? Disobedience to him. He's not going to have man who he's married to and created from the beginning get all the blessings and all this operating in an adulterous relationship with the world and with Satan. So what's the way that he can actually show a man what he's dealing with? Check out your woman. Okay. See? You're crying about your woman. Yeah, that sexy red, that's your daughter Zion. Okay. That's your daughter Zion. And you're going to always have that as long as I don't have the man that I gave dominion to in the beginning. So what better example to show mankind what the heavens are witnessing, how we've fallen so far from the dominion the Most High has given us, than to totally give a physical example of what we love on earth as detestable. What you got, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir. Sirach 26 and 23.
Let's read it again. Come on.
Sirach 26 and 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man.
Hold up. Let's read it again. Chapter and verse. Hold on. I got to get it so they all can see this.
Yes, sir. Sirach 26, 23.
This is Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter
26, verse 23.
26, verse 33. Let's read 23.
Yes, sir.
Let's read it.
A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man.
Read it again.
A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man.
Read.
But a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord.
A godly woman is given to a man who fears God. A wicked woman is given to a portion of a wicked man. See? And that's why I said earlier, eventually, those that aren't right will find each other. And they'll never be able to blame anyone outside of themselves because they chose each other. See? So if there's a woman out there who's flexing to a degree where she need a man that she can control, that's who you'll find. The man that you will complain that isn't doing anything. See? And a man that isn't doing anything, he's going to get that woman who want to control everything. They'll find each other. They both are operating out of order and will fight when someone tries to actually help them through the dysfunction. That man will fight to stay lazy and not doing anything. That woman will fight and give you an excuse to why she has to be the man. And they'll just be two dysfunctional people arguing with each other, going nowhere. Why? Read it again.
A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man.
But a what?
But a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord.
But a godly woman is given to him that fear the Lord, because a man who fears the Lord has standards. And I'm going to tell you, a man that fear the Lord, or a man, who understand the Most High's business and what he needs to do on the earth, will pick a woman that's not fully refined, who have gone through some issues. He will. But he'll let her know to repent and leave the old person behind and do what? Be able to become molded. And learn again. Okay? Men will operate with a woman who've gone through a few things if she's willing to recognize to herself that that's a part of her faults, and that behavior can be overcome by her seeking to be molded again, regardless of her past issues, it's a tough deal, but it can happen. It can happen. Right? It can happen. Now let's go to that malignant root real quick.
Yes, sir.
In Esdras, since we're there.
Yes, sir. Second Esdras chapter 3, verse number 19.
3 and 19. Let's read it.
And thy glory went through 4 gates of fire, and of earthquake, and of wind, and of cold, that thou mightest give the law unto the seed of Jacob, in diligence unto the generation of Israel.
So he gave the law to the seed of Jacob, and diligence unto the generation of Israel. So the Most High sent the law through 4 gates. There's 4 gates that enter into this earth. And he sent the law through those gates and gave it to Moses. This is what puts us back on code with the Almighty and with each other. Okay? Because how do you know that Satan is in the midst? When you look in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, it was the blame game. Right? Adam, why you do this? I gave you dominion. Oh, no, man, it's the woman you gave me. Eve, what's going on? You supposed to be down with your man. No, it was a serpent who beguiled me. He came down here and had me go against my husband. That's how you know Satan is in the midst. It become a circular pointing the finger without resolve. When Adam should have said, it's my fault. I don't care if you gave me the woman. You told me not to take that. See that? That's the repentance and ownership that comes with what? The quickening spirit, or the second Adam. See, when you take on your own responsibility, so to have resolve and get back on the work of dominion. See that? And it's always the blame game, and none of us are going anywhere with it. Right? Eve should have said, you know what? It was my fault. See how when you take pride away, it's the beginning of getting on code. Eve should have said, it's my fault. Do what you will with me. It ain't the serpent. My husband told me not to do it. And not only did I do it, I gave it to him. It was my fault. It's so hard for us to admit that we did something wrong, be it the man, the woman, or anyone else. And the blame game keeps us in this dysfunction. And when you look at any relationship from the past that went awry for whatever reason, either side will not admit when they're looking into another relationship to the person they're talking to what they did wrong. Everything was the fault of the other person. We have to dress ourselves up, as righteous or virtuous. Okay? The blame game. Let's read that again.
Yes, sir. And thy glory went through 4 gates of fire and earthquake and of wind and of cold, that thou mightest give the law unto the seed of Jacob and diligence unto the generation of Israel.
So why can't we take accountability? Folks, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you why. It's a poison. Listen to me clearly. When you admit something that you wouldn't normally tell people, you're not identifying just yourself. You're identifying a spirit that has a stronghold. But if you can admit it, that it's separate from you or contrary to your nature when it comes to your obedience to the Almighty, when you admit it exists separate from you, you have the power to bind it so it doesn't control you. You realize there's something working contrary to the original order the Most High gave man and woman from the beginning. But if you don't admit it, it doesn't exist. See? Are you following me? Right? Are y'all following me here? We're dropping some jewels for y'all today, right? Let's read it.
Verse 20. And yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart.
He didn't take away from them what?
A wicked heart.
He didn't take away from Adam he didn't take away from Israel a wicked heart. So he gave us the law that would recognize the sin that came with mommy and daddy. Disobedience. It was the law to let us know when something was wrong in us, working contrary to the heavens. Y'all see that? Because before we had the law, before I knew I was Israel, I was just doing what everyone else in the neighborhood was doing. I didn't know it was wrong. It was normal. Normalized dysfunction, which makes us less than what the Most High made and intended for us. They put us in a dysfunctional box of chaos that became the norm. But when I received the law of God and read those commandments and read the do's and don'ts, moral, civil, dietary, I was able to weigh the law that came through those 4 gates with my dysfunction. See? See? The world can't prescribe this. If they tell our people this, you know how much the pharmaceuticals will lose if you understand that what the dysfunction you're fighting is within us through disobedience. You know how much they would lose? They would rather you stay in this state to be controlled by pharmacy with no resolve, when really it's looking at that law privately amongst yourself and comparing yourself with it. Right? And yet he tooketh not away from the Israelites a wicked heart. Read.
That thy law might bring forth fruit in them.
That the law might bring forth fruit in them. Right? So because of that choice between good and evil, or that choice that came with the sin of Adam and Eve, will always be struggling, even when doing right, with the wrong choice. The wrong choice will always be there. Even when we do right, it's us overcoming the thought or the choice that was there before us, which was wrong. Right? Read.
21. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed and was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him.
And so be all they that are born of him. And folks, this doesn't matter what race you are. All people that came from Adam and Eve, and that's all races of people in the earth, struggle with this malignant root that only Christ can fix. See? Now, some people might ask, what do you mean only Christ can fix? Think about it. Sin leads to dysfunction. And the dysfunction in sin, when we look back at our lives, if it doesn't go the way we thought it would go, lead to regret. See? Regret leads to depression. See? See, but if Christ comes to destroy that malignant root and say, well, no, you can be born again and not hold yourself to that depression that comes with thinking of the mistakes. It frees you of the shame of the past and gives you a new lease on life, so that now if God is not looking down on you as the negative you did in the past, you cannot now depress yourself with it and have another opportunity to fix what you can while there's still time. And there's no other belief on earth that can do this. Only in Christ do you get an opportunity after doing some of the most heinous things and not have regret that would put you under depression, because you have now the Holy Spirit operating with you, healing you from that past. And this is why I'd say, listen, people can say whatever they want to say. Okay? Because no man or woman can accuse or come down on any sin in the earth from any person that after Christ have freed them from that sin. Okay? And that gives you what? That gives you the opportunity to do the work of Adam and Eve that was intended from the beginning without shame. The enemy can always come, oh, you did this in the past. You did that in the past. Oh, you did it. Okay, go ahead. Accuse. But no matter what you say, okay? No matter what you say, yeah, I did it all. But Christ have made me free from it, and I'm doing the work regardless. Now what? I did it all. Now what? Now I'm bringing people to the kingdom of the Almighty and having others overcome depression, destruction, and death. Now what? If it would have been through my righteousness, people would have pointed to me to why the world is being saved through the word we're teaching. But because we're just wretched men and have decided to give our lives over to the righteousness of the law, Christ can work through us to save souls. Check it out. Let's wrap it up. Come on.
22. Thus infirmity was made permanent.
Thus what?
Thus infirmity was made permanent.
An infirmity was made permanent, which means something different was a part of the genome after Adam and Eve took a part of that fruit. It changed us, right? And it says that infirmity was made permanent. Read.
And the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root.
The malignity of the root that came through Adam and Eve to show you that they must have been the first people. The root began with them and their sin.
Right.
Read.
So that the good departed away and the evil abode still.
So that the good depart away and the evil abode still. See? So what happened through the sin? Through Adam and Eve. A malignant root will be there that would have us choose or think to do evil, even if we know the law. But through the grace of the Almighty, folks, not like it was when we were under the slave programming, not like that, folks. At least we have the knowledge of the sin we knew not of before. That is an advantage in of itself. You want to know how Israel become free? This is how. It was the disobedience of the law that put us under the Gentile nations. And it's the learning of the law and to apply it amongst one another. That's right, folks. This is what's totally destroying the curse that was put upon us and has freed the children of Israel to understand we're next. So the question is out there. Did Adam lose Eve? Well, isn't that up to us and how we live to answer that question? To truly answer that. See? If Adam is walking in the dominion of the Most High that was given from the beginning, that purpose that comes through Christ, and Eve will ignore the outside noise, media, social media, and all that, and get on code as a helpmeet to her man. Who on earth? Let me repeat. Who on earth can stop them? Who on earth can stop us? Isaiah 29:16 of the lawyer.
Isaiah 29, verse 16.
Isaiah 29, verse 16.
Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay.
Satan turned things upside down on purpose. See, under a capitalistic society, he could fund dysfunction at normalities. He would put his money behind making a woman believe she should be equal to a man and totally drive the women insane. Knowing, Satan knew, he was there from the beginning. He knew that's an impossibility. But he knew that if he can press on one side, it would have what? It would have a domino effect. Turning of things upside down. And that's the woman who strive to be seen in a man's position, as well as men in particular, who are willing to accept a subservient position under a woman. Okay? That's turning things upside down. That's out of order. And when Satan put anything in place, folks, it affects our people more so than any other race of people, because that's who they're targeting. Because why? Because that's who it was in the beginning. When Adam and Eve comes together, let me tell you, there's nothing in the world, nothing, whether it be principality, powers, there's nothing. When a man and woman is under Christ, there's nothing in any realm that's created can stop them. Nothing. Yeah, they did a job on us, but I'm not going to claim that it was some satanic nut job by the name of Willie Lynch. They would rather have the credit to why we have fallen to such a demise, so that we can claim that they have the power to actually control and do whatever they're doing. They love when we talk about Willie Lynch, because it's saying it's having us believe they have the power of God. But Willie Lynch was a worm. He was a worm of a man. And those who follow eugenics and psychology to trick and destroy the world are worms. If it wasn't for our God stating the curse of Deuteronomy 28, there's no way Willie Lynch could have executed any ideology that could keep us under perpetual servitude for hundreds of years. It was our God who did this. And you know what? Nothing is going to change until we come back to him. With that, Shalom. It's been a blessed Sabbath. Let's embrace one another. Forgive one another. Forgive each other through this final run. We're going to need each other. And the Most High have something great in all of us. Don't worry about the past. Right now, and if you're breathing, you're living, you're listening, the Most High have something in you that all of us are going to need. We're going to need one another. Let's do it. See y'all in the academy tomorrow, where we break down the 4 beasts of Daniel. Next week, we're going into the judgment on the rebellious. And we'll be breaking down all the different perspectives when it comes to the afterlife. Week 12, the first time we will embark on this lesson like this. I hope you're there. And if not, don't worry about it. As long as the Most High give us breath, life, and time, there'll be another academy. January 7th. Yes, yes, yes. Be a part of it. And for the sister who said that she wanted to purchase and do things with her family, we're going to give you a call and let you know how we can do this, okay, for the academy, okay? So we're going to help you out with that, all right? Well, thank you. History.
One quick request as well. If we can put out a prayer for Brother Mabel Matos and his family. We can keep him in prayer.
Brother Matos.
Brother Mabel Matos. We can keep him in prayer.
Okay, you can say it.
Yes, sir. Also, if we can just make sure that we keep Brother Mabel and his family in prayer, pray that the Most High brings him and restores him back to health. Keep his family in prayer. Again, that's Brother Mabel Matos.
Brother Mabel Matos. Yeah, put him in prayer, please, and we're going to make sure we put out a prayer for him today. All right, see y'all in the academy tomorrow. And for the brother that was asking a question real quick, let me answer this, because I think it's somebody that's in the academy also. So I thought I'll answer this while there's still an opportunity, and it's quick. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to go into this record I have on Adam and Eve, but I'll do that at another time. I stayed strictly in the scriptures on this, but Elder Lawyer, if you will, let's get Genesis 6:1 real quick.
Genesis 6:1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose.
Now these are angels who slept with women and brought forth Nephilim. That's who it is. Read.
Verse number 3, and the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years.
That his days should be 120 years, right? Now let me show you something here. Let me show you. Okay, you can go ahead. Thank you. His days should be, let's see. His days shall be 120 years. When you look in the Hebrew, brothers and sisters, let me get it here. In the Hebrew, for 120 years, it breaks down as a revolution of time, right? You got year, but it's also a revolution of time, not just an annual year, all right? Now, when you go into the breakdown of this, it's breaking down for those who who understand the secrets of the times. The secrets of the times real quick. Let me get it here. Let me see where my pen at. When you look at that 120 years, it's 120 jubilees. A jubilee is 50. Right? When you do 120 times 50, you get what? 6,000 years. 6,000 years of jubilees before the judgment. It took 6,000 years, and in the 7,000th year, Adam rests. Well, because Adam sinned, the second Adam would need to do what? Operate in the heavens and start creation all over again, congruent with the heavens and the earth, for another 6,000 before rest. The same rest Adam would have received if him and Eve would have partook of the tree of life. Okay? That's the breakdown. 6,000 years, not talking about a span of a man's life. Okay? It's speaking of a time period or judgment on those who made man, who caused mankind to sin in the beginning. Okay? including the children of Adam who would follow the religions, ideologies, and sacrifices of those fallen gods. Right? Now, get this. Now, if you got 120 in the book of Jubilees, it's broken down like this. $120 times 50 give you 6,000. Right? From Adam to Moses, from Adam to Moses would be 50. You'll have 50 jubilees between Adam and Moses where we'll receive the law, right? You'll have 50 between Adam and Moses, and that will be the law. You got that? Which is 2,500 years. And then you would have 35 jubilees between Moses and Christ. You have, excuse me, I'm using this pen for the first time. Matter of fact, 1 second, let me do it again. No. Do it again. 120 times 50 is 6,000. Okay? Then you would have between Adam and Moses, you would have 50 jubilees. Man, what the? Hold on. I'm going to try it one more time. Let me put this over here. Let me get closer here. $6,000, right? So you got 50 jubilees. 50 jubilees, which is 2,500 years. And that's between Adam and Moses. Right? Then you got another 20, then you got another 35 between what? That's 1,750. And that's between who? Moses and Christ. Then you would have another 35, another 1,750. And that's between Christ and the return. Between Christ and the return. That's 120 days of jubilees. So from Christ's birth to his coming will be 1,750 years according to the heavenly calendar. So that means we're not in 2023 going into 2024. It's a lie from the pits of hell. And I have the right calendars to know, what around dates we're in. But some people may claim, well, no man know the day or the hour. That's true. That's why Christ said in Matthew 20:24 and 22 that he would cut the days short, that no man can be saved. Lest no flesh would be saved. Because Satan knew how much time he had. See? But we're close, brothers and sisters. We are close. All right. With that, shalom. I'll see you in the academy tomorrow. I didn't want this lesson to be that long, but we have many people that are following us throughout the earth who don't have the opportunity to get in the academy or whatever the case might be. And I just wanted to share one of those types of lessons with you all today. And please come into this academy, folks, while there's still time. Come into this academy. I'm going to tell you, it's a lot of information. Okay, go to historytimes.org. Help us out and enroll. And also enroll someone else you may think could benefit from the information and send them the link. Okay, enroll someone else and have them come in too. With that, I'm going to say shalom. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up, sin not. We will soon see Zion. Shalom.
I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me. And through the tribulation, I know I must stand. For a new heaven, a new earth, show me